Hello, everybody. It is Friday. I hope you're doing well. I'm glad you're here. It is Drama-Free Friday, we hope, all day long, right? So, welcome in. Come join in the conversation. And hello, Patricia. Good to see you. I'm going to drink a little bit of tea. So it is Friday, and we're back in winter again, or fall anyway. It was 40-some degrees this morning when I woke up. We have been in summer. So we've been really hot a few days, and now we're back to cold. Hello from Poland. Boy, I don't know how to say your name, but I'm glad you're here. Gratnia? Hello, Rhonda. Is it Gratnia? I don't know. Can you spell it? Can you spell it phonetically, like with the way it should sound? I'll see if I can remember. I'm glad you're here. I think you might be the first person I've had here from Poland, so welcome. Elvis is in the house. Is it winter? It's crazy. Hi, Tori. Hello, Peggy. Good to see you. Chance is in the other room already. He went in there and I took advantage of it and shut the door. Grace. Oh, well, that makes it easy. That makes it easy. That was my mom's name, and my sister's name, and my niece's name, and my grandmother's name. So that makes it easy. Hello from Belgium. Hello, Caroline. Is it Caroline? Or Sherry? Which would you like to be called? Hello, Purple Nana Linda. Good to see you. Galena. Wow. Galena, it's good to see you in the chat, girl. I haven't seen you in the chat for quite a while. Good to have you here. All right, so I have a few things to show you. Understand, Becky. I'd like to do the same thing. So, enjoy your recliner time. Good to see you. Okay, so let's see. What did I work on this week? I worked on another one of the sheets based on the 60s and 70s patterns and things. Your knee is screaming. Oh, I'm sorry. That's awful. That's awful. Well, elevate it, and do all the things. Do all the things you can do to make it feel better, hopefully. Ooh. Greg went for pizza. Good boy, son. Good boy. All right, so this is the piece I was last working on. I don't remember if I showed you that I had the drawing finished or not. But anyway, here's the drawing. This is the second one that I did. The first one was okay, so this is the first drawing I did. Okay, so this one that I'm doing right here is a little different. So there's the second one. There's the first one I did. So they're similar, but a little bit different. Hello, Evelyn. Good to see you. Caroline. Is it Caroline? Hopefully I'm saying it right. If I'm not, please accept my apology. Okay, so that was the first one. This is the second one that I did. So this one is, again, a leftover piece of whatever this is. I think it was acrylic, but I'm not sure. It could have been watercolor. I don't really know. Found it in my stash of stuff, and so I used the inspiration from the Beatles' Love, Cirque du Soleil, or if you're the Studley Duck, Circus Filet production. And so this is inspired from that. Not copied, but inspired by. And this is, I made a bunch of copies of the drawing, and this is where I am at the moment, coloring the design. Once I get it colored to suit me, then I will come back and I will fill in some of this blank space over here, because I like it better having the background, having this kind of background, and not all of the background reproduced. You can see in here it didn't quite get everything. So, but this one is going to be the cool tone palette. Hello, Barbara Clark. Anyway, so once I have them done, then have this finished, then I'll take it and do what I did with the other ones, which is I'll have it copied. And what I am coloring on is a color copy of the original artwork. And then I will take the colored version in and have it copied. And that's what I'll use to cut up. And that's hopefully remembering to not cut up the original. That's the hope. Yeah, that's the hope. So if Ruth comes in, I'll have to show her because she loves purple so much. Yeah. Anyway, so that's that. So I've been doing that the last, I don't know, 2 days, I guess, off and on. Hello, Terry. While I was looking for something else, I found this. And I thought I would show these to you because I don't know how they got in with what I had them in. But fortunately, I'd labeled the bag. And so this was from one of the VIP classes at the website. And this was done in April of 2020. And so these are tiny little charms, book charms. And so I thought I would show them to you because they are dinky. I mean, they are really tiny. Like, let's see. I just thought I'd show them to you because I don't remember if I did show them to you. They're 1.5 inches wide from the spine to 1.75 inches tall. I mean, it is tiny, and it is a bona fide little book. Hello, Mary. How many color copies do you make of the finished? I just go in and tell them, usually 3 or 4. Just, so if I screw up one, I have extras. And that's what that's based on. Here's the other one. So I had 2 of them. And so I'll show you what they look. But they're charms. So they can be attached to another book. Or, if you're so inclined to wear a necklace or whatever, you could do that. Anyway, there's the cover, which I do not even remember what I made the cover out of. Probably some sort of recycled purse or glove or something that I clearly put something on the inside of it. That's the cover. There's the pages. I have the templates. And the pages were from scrapbook paper, old scrapbook paper, super old scrapbook paper. Anyway, so I show these to you. Oh, thank you, Mary. I show these to you because I thought you might enjoy being inspired to make something tiny. So this has a charm that just came from one of the craft stores, and the closure is probably pearl cotton, but I'm not sure. Anyway, I thought I'd show it to you. So here's the little teeny tiny book. And this, at this point, it's all just the scrapbook pages, scrapbook paper pages that I showed you here. That's all this is. And some of them, let's see, is that right? Or there might be some rub-ons in here. They're awfully precise to have. Yeah, I might have fussy cut these pages. I don't honestly remember. Anyway, some of this may be rub-ons or stamps. I don't know. I must have done some of that. Must be rub-ons. Anyway, I don't remember for sure. But anyway, the background started out. Yeah, these are rub-ons. The background started out as just scrapbook paper and then went from there. Okay? And then I just added, I added the closure. So the closure is just added on here. And then that's what holds the book closed. So it goes around enough times that it will successfully hold it closed. And then the charm keeps the book closure from unraveling, from, keeps it closed. So there is that one. So this is the other one. This was my finished one. This has a little charm on it. Came from Hobby Lobby or Michael's. I used to be able to buy these in a package. I don't know if you still can, but I used to buy them in a package, and there were a whole bunch of charms. I think Hobby Lobby. And there were a whole bunch of charms in the pack with different, they all had the same word on the pack, but I bought different packages of them, and I have used and used and used them. So this is the other one, and I thought I would show it to you because this had a little more embellishment in it. So some of these are the word strips or whatever they're called, Big Chat, whatever, Tiny Chat from Tim Holtz. And some of them are rub-ons or cutouts from, like this is washi tape. So I have different kinds of washi tape. This is washi tape. And the thing that's nice, so is this. The thing that's nice about washi tape is that it's a little transparent. And I would tell you how I put these signatures together, but I do not remember. I'll have to go back and watch my own video because I don't remember. This is a whole bunch of washi tape. Just, it's a number strip. I think this was from a Tim Holtz strip. I don't remember for sure. Anyway, I just tore the numbers up and stuck them on there. This is washi tape. I like how the washi tape allows the background to show through. This is a little more opaque than this one. And this is washi tape. So is this. This is both washi tape and one of the quotes. Same thing here. But it's nice if you start out with the background, because if you start out with the scrapbook paper, and this is the world's oldest and not my favorite scrapbook paper, it's a good way to use it up, especially if it has little patterns on it. Note to self. Dream big. That's washi tape also. Dream big. Note to self. Again, has a little closure. It is not stitched all the way through the binding, and I can look through the book and realize that those two signatures are not attached to the book binding. So I think I must have stitched them together and then glued them into the book. I can't tell you without going back and looking. Anyway, so the closure is the same. And I love these little books. I love little stuff. I have some other miniature books somewhere around here that I've made. And I love the little tiny books. Not that I ever do anything with them, but I like them. So anyway, And then all of it is in this bag, which fortunately I labeled with when I did it and what it was for, because otherwise there was no hope of me telling you when I did it. I know, right? So there you go. So I found those and I thought, oh, I'll show those to you. And then I'll put them over there in a pile and then they'll resurface again. Hello, Linda. Good to see you. Good to see everybody here today. Thank you for coming. I am yet again dealing with some allergy stuff. Every time I think, hello, Ellen. Oh, thank you. Every time I think, okay, we're going straight into summer. We had a huge amount of wind. I don't know if it was yesterday and the day before. It was really windy. Like blow the hair off your head windy. And, you know, so I'm thinking, okay, it's going to blow all this pollen stuff and all that out of here. And all it did was just whip it up. So, quite honestly, I'm not feeling 100% today. But I am here with you guys. So Monday night, we made some papers. And so I thought I would show them to you. The end results. And these papers are, I have ironed them all. I have a crappy iron. A lot of people don't have an iron at all. I have one for fabric and one for paper. And so this is my crappy one, which is, you got to be careful what you iron, even with paper, because if I iron, if it's something I really care about, I even have to cover the surface because the bottom of the iron is so bad. Even though I have like cleaned it. Oh, Mary. Wow. Oh, thanks, Peggy. Big prayers for Mary. Hello, Sherry. Good to see you. You have messy hands. That's good. I hope you're doing something fun. All right. Apparently I've not had this issue for quite a while. Nope. Okay. All right. So hold on just a second. Let me see if my switching device, which changes all my cameras, is not cooperating. Let me give it another chance. Nope. Okay, we're gonna do it the old-fashioned way today. So things will be a little clumsier today, but sometimes I have not had this issue for quite a while. I don't know why it's going to be cantankerous today. So this was just using text paper and this was a Tim Holtz stencil. This was a Tim Holtz stencil. These were some of the Faber-Castell stencils. So that's just, and this is just making papers to do other things with. This paper is the paper that you use to tape off baseboards and windows and trims and stuff like that. It's the very thin stuff. You can get this in a much wider roll, and you can get it at a discount store. And so you can use this and you can do stuff with it. And so that's what this is. And this was where I was showing you how you can make marks with glue all, Elmer's glue all. May work with other glues too, but this is the one I've always done it with. Make marks with it, put paint down and scrape the paint across the wet glue. I know it doesn't make any sense that it would work, but it does. And I do like the fact that you get the contrast of the craft color coming through. So that's pretty interesting. This is just a stencil on top of the part that didn't look so great. You can't, this is going to be very annoying to me, but anyway, personal problems. You can't, then I sidetrack myself. You can't plan or expect the outcome. You have to take what you get and not worry about it. So that's the thing with that. Yep, you can. I usually will cover my surface with parchment paper or a press cloth when I really want to do it. But hello, Joni. I don't know what your name is, so I'm just going to call you Yo. Anybody that I missed, saying hello to you. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for joining us. Anyway, you can't predict the outcome. You can't worry about it if you don't get what you want. You just enjoy the unexpected outcome, and that is a whole lot of the purpose of doing these papers. You just make the papers. You're not committing to doing it in a book or in a project. You're just creating supplies, and this is all based on a book that I'll show you here in a second. So here's another one, same thing, glue. It's a glue resist technique, and then some stenciling on top of it. Okay, what happened here? I'm telling you, there are gremlins. There are gremlins in the world here today. Hang on just a second. I got to get back to my chat. There are gremlins afoot. So give me 1 second, because I got to get back to my chat. It decided to go away for some silly reason. All right. All right, there we go. Now if it will stay put, we're all good. Who knows? Crazy. Hello, Annette. Haven't seen you for a while. Ruth Edwards, hello. And let's see. And Dorothy, hello there. Okay, so anyway, that's the same process, okay? And these are the other papers. So this was just a use it up, and whatever was left on the scraper, I was just scraping it off. This is, again, more just scrape off the extra paints that I was using for the technique. And so oftentimes I like these the best. And this is the same thing. So all of these first ones that I showed you right here, these are all just leftover, scrape off the paint kind of things. This one was one of the ones where we did, when you see the blank areas in the back, that's where the glue resist happened. Okay. And then on top of it, I did some stenciling. So there's a variety of ways to use this. You can punch them, you can tear them. You could use this as a background and go on top of it with other things. It's pretty much whatever you want. This I think was one where I just scraped the paint off. Yeah, this is a leftover sheet, kind of like what these were. Just getting rid of the extra paint, and then I just came on top of it with stencils. The purple Ruth, Miss Ruth is right here. Okay, Miss Ruth, I don't want to hear that I don't have purple. So there's purple. It's even got stripes and circles. So the circles are done with the glue leaves. And more purple, Ruth. This is again done with the glue resist, and so just draw with the glue bottle, put some paint down, scrape it across. It's very helpful if you'll use a scraper that is the width of your paper and go all the way across. Very helpful to do that. And you can't, it's really hard to get it if you go back over it a second time. If you do, that generally doesn't work, but try it and see. Here's another one. Purple, Ruth. So again, this was done with the glue bottle. These were just dots of glue. So you get some dragging of the glue if you're doing small things. You cannot, absolutely cannot predict how it's going to end up. You just go with it, and that's one of the beauties of making your own papers. Okay. This one was, again, glue resist, zigzaggy lines and straight zigzag lines the other way. I love this color of aqua. And this one I wrote words, and I'm sure that you can't see them. This says enjoy. This is inspire, delight, allow. See, I can't even, this says joy down here. I don't even know what all the words were. But again, it's just a thing. It's just resources for other projects. And this one has, this is where you know, kind of like some of these other ones, like this, where you do the first layer. And so this is, and these are different than paste papers, similar but different. This has the layer, the first layer, which is the glue resist, and then the acrylic paint. Let it dry, come back and stencil on it. So this one has the glue resist in the background, the various zigzaggy things. Pink paint scraped across it, let it dry, come back, and start making marks. So this was made with a paintbrush and black paint, just scribbling marks. And then this one, I think we might have worked this way, although I can't remember for sure. Anyway, then this is the other, like for example, this is the way I made these marks, okay, just with the flat of a flat brush, not an angled brush, but a flat brush. This is the edge of the flat brush, okay, just making marks with the edge. This was taking the brush and just twirling it, okay, so that's where that came from. This one was making marks like this, except just touching it down and then turning it and touching it the other way. So you can make lots of things like that, and make your own papers. And then when you start tearing them up, that's when the magic starts to happen. Because even the ugliest paper that you have created becomes usable. And I very often take the ugliest papers and I will reach for them first. And I like them the best. But at the time I made them, they're like, oh no, these are so bad. So bad. Anyway, the book that this is based on is Share Your Joy, Mixed Media Shareable Art by Sarah J. Gardner. So that came about because that is the book that we're being inspired by at the book club that I go to, which is in a store that's not too far from me. And Ruth, just for your viewing pleasure, yes, Miss Ruth, because you weren't here earlier, but that's okay. This is the second sheet of 60s and 70s inspired stuff that I've been going through and coloring. So this is the actual piece down here that was done on watercolor paper with the leftover background. I drew the design, inked it in, and now I'm just going back and coloring it. So there you go, Miss Ruth. That should be enough purple. That should be enough purple to keep you going for at least a few minutes, right? At least a few minutes. Hello, Leah. Good to see you. All right. Thanks, you guys, for giving Mary some love. She needs some extra support and encouragement. So you're still getting ads. I have it set where they're not supposed to be doing it, so apparently Apparently it's going to do what it's going to do. Yeah. Let me go back here and, oops, wrong. Let me go back here and make sure. Okay, hold on a minute. Let me do it again. Maybe this will cut some of the ads because I had to restart a thing, so we'll see. Maybe it will deter them. You know, I have only so much control over some of this stuff. I don't have as much control as I think I have. Yeah, I know it's happening in the lives, but when I had to restart my... Anyway, it's a whole thing. Doesn't matter. Yes, Princess Purple. Yes, that's right. Okay, so I'm going to do a couple of things, and then we're going to go and maybe do some more papers. I don't know. We'll see how my energy holds out. The allergy situation is whipping my butt. Pardon my French, but that's what it's doing. And so I'm a little low on energy. That's pretty interesting. That is really interesting. Annette, I did not know that. She was giving us a bit of information. Okay, so I have 2 journals that need to be covered because if you guys have been hanging around with me very long, you know that uncovered journals make me crazy because I cannot figure out which is the front cover. And I can't figure out which journal is which thing. So I have one that's actually full. It's already, and I have never gotten a cover on it. So we're going to do that. And then I have the other one that I've started, and we're going to do that one too. And this shouldn't take too long, but, you know, we'll find out. Okay? Okay. I wish my device worked, but it doesn't. Personal problems. Okay. So I'm just going to use my yucky old mat that is, yes, it is a Tim Holtz mat, and it's all cruddy. It's non-stick. This is the journal that I have all filled up. I managed to make myself write this entire thing in pencil, which is against my better judgment. I still haven't finished this neurographic thing at the end. It may never get finished, but anyway, there it is. And this is supposed to get put on a page, but it's back here waiting. Anyway, let's go for it. Hello, Dana. Good to see you. All right, so let's put this in here just to protect the pages a little bit. And I could use matte medium or gel medium or tacky glue or whatever, but you know, we're going simple, we're going old school and easy. Why did I write it in pencil? Because I was traveling and I just took the pencil with me, and I had very few ink pens and very few supplies. And I thought that when I got home that I would go back and I would redo, you know, all those pages and stuff. And I decided that my life is too short to do that. So I did the entire thing in pencil, which I have not done in, I've never done that. I've never done a journal in pencil. Diane Fago, Packer Die, always does her journaling in pencil. That is not me. I have never done mine in pencil. So it was a good challenge to make myself actually do that. So, all right, so what I found to use on this cover, because this is the one from when I traveled to Australia and New Zealand was this piece of tissue paper. We'll see if I can get it on here at all straight. That was kind of a lucky shot, but it's not quite straight. So we'll see if this will come back off. It might or it might not. And let's go this way. Hang on just a minute. All right, so let's try it a different way. All right, that's a little better. And this is tissue paper, and so it's going to wrinkle, and I'm going to be okay with that. But I found this, and it was old map, and I think I probably bought this at Barnes & Noble at some point in my life. And I thought I was looking for a napkin. I thought maybe I had a napkin that I could use for this, but I ran across this tissue paper, and I'm like, okay, even better. So I'm just using an Elmer's Extreme glue stick because I really like the Elmer's Extreme glue sticks. And I don't know if they still make them. It doesn't even matter to me because I still have some, and so I'll use them till they're gone, and then I'll figure out what I want to use next if they don't have these anymore. It does not matter to me, you know. Supplies change. I used to be able to get these at Walmart easily, and they didn't cost much of anything. And then I had to get them on Amazon, and they cost a little bit more. And then at some point somebody said they weren't making them, and then somebody else said, well, they were making them again. I don't know. And you know what? You just, life is too short to worry about whether you can get the same supplies that you used to get. Hello, Kathy. Good to see you. So I don't sweat it, you know? I just don't sweat it. I just go for it. I like these because they're not too wet. They're not too dry. It's just a good glue stick, you know? And it sticks. And very seldom do I have problems with it coming back off and turning loose, and so that's why I like this particular glue stick. But does it matter in the long run of my life? No, this is a cover of a journal. It does not matter. All right. So some of that glue is going to come through the craft color of the paper below, the cardstock itself from the cover of these journals. These are moleskin journals. That craft color shines through. It does affect how this is. Like if this were a white journal, all the colors would be brighter. It's not, so there you go. All right, let me get my sanding sponge and we'll finish this. Now, any of you that don't like fingers on the chalkboard kind of sounds may want to mute, okay? To protect the text from fading. Yeah, you can. You can seal it, or you can just go, I don't care. That's usually my fallback, is I usually don't care. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is mute now if this is going to bother you, okay? Because I'm going to sand this. Is Anne here? There she is. Hello, Anne. Yeah, go ahead and mute. Okay. Some people cannot stand the sound of this. I understand, but it's the fastest way I can do this, and therefore that's what I'm going to do. So this is a sanding sponge, and you can sand downward. Do not sand back and forth, only pull down. And you can do it at a 45-degree angle, and it will take off the excess tissue paper or napkins very quickly. If you want a perfect job, then you need to do this when the tissue paper is dry. This is not dry at all, okay? Not even sorta kinda. But, you know, it often still works, and it's trying to stick to my wax paper. Now, there's going to be, oftentimes I will get some bubbling in the tissue paper or the napkin when I use glue stick, and I'm okay with that. Yep, okay, so there is this scraps that are left, and that I actually a lot of times will cut this down and use it as trims in my journals. And sometimes if I just get in a mood, I just throw it away. Okay, so there's that. So there's the front and the back of the journal, and just to make sure that everything sticks, I'll put this under some heavy weight and let it do that. Now for grins, I'm going to put this on here because I want this, I want the cover to have the front cover to be obvious to me when I pick it up. The one thing that I absolutely hate, let's see, I think maybe I'll do it this way. One of the things I really hate, I know you're not supposed to hate stuff, but I do. I hate picking up a journal and having to flip it around to find the front, because invariably I will pick it up and I will pick it up upside down, which is exactly why on this one I wrote the word front on it, because that irritates me, and I don't know why. I don't know why that irritates me as much as it does, but it does. So there you go. Personal problems. So this was from the same tissue paper, and I just whacked out a strip of this, and so we're going to call it good, and I'm just going to stick it on here, and I'm going to do the same thing I did before. Using a glue stick, but I'm going to glue the tissue paper instead of the cover. All right. So I just put down a piece of scrap paper, and this, once this gets gluey, here, we're going to do it this way, because once it gets gluey, it is real hard to control. So we're going to put this on like so, hoping it's marginally straight. And then, just for grins and giggles, I'm going to just stick that in the inside cover. And then I'm going to come around to the other side of the paper. Because the tissue paper, once it gets wet, even with a glue stick, which is not super wet, it compromises the integrity of the tissue paper immediately, and so it starts getting wimpy and doing all kinds of weirdness. So we're just gonna glue it on, and I'm gonna stick it around in the inside cover, just because that's nice and easy to do. Okay, And sometimes when this journal happens to be full, so I won't be using it anymore. But sometimes when you do this stuff to it, this will break down. I obviously didn't get all the glue right in here, so I may have to go back and patch that a little bit. But, you know, it's good enough. It is good enough. All right, while I'm here, I'm going to ink it. And I'm just going to use my same old cobalt ink because it is handy. Hey, Shu. Hello, Kasha. Anybody that I miss seeing you, welcome, welcome. Thanks for coming and joining us today. By sanding the edge of that, it also gives you a more receptive edge to the ink. It will take the color a little bit more. And so that's another reason that I like it. So there is that. And I just like to add the ink because I like the way it looks, and it just kind of helps frame the journal. Now there may be some places like right in here it doesn't look like it's glued real super well, but again, this is just for the purpose. On this one, the journal's already full. It's full all the way through, and so that is good enough. Good enough. Okay, there's one done. It just needs to go under weight, under some heavy books. I do have a book press also, and it could where's my mouse? Here it is. It could go in the book press, but quite honestly, it's easier for me to stick it under a stack of books. That's the easy button. Okay, so we're going to do the other one. This is my current journal that I just started working in. I'm finally back to my normal style of journaling, which means that I'm printing out pictures and using tapes and what else? Quotes and all that kind of stuff, and colored inks. So, yeah, I need to cover up something here because a lot of people will not appreciate seeing this picture. The other day, the Studley duck was walking on uneven ground and took quite a tumble. And so I have a picture of what he did to his leg. No one will appreciate that, by the way. No one will appreciate seeing that. Anyway, the Studley duck, not known for being super... he was an athlete in high school and college. He was a good athlete, but he's not now. He's not now. So he took quite a tumble on the deck, he has a body of water on his property, and he was trying to get up on the deck, and he missed the step and skinned his shin significantly. Yes. Okay, so covered the picture. He thought he'd broken his leg, but he didn't. So that's good. That's good. Something to be very thankful for. Did not break his leg. And so the way I found out about it was he was fishing with his granddaughter. So he sent me a picture of his leg after he got back to the house, and the caption was, "Ouch." I'm like, yeah, I bet that was an ouch. Oof. Anyway, okay. So all I'm doing is preparing my other journal and putting a piece of parchment paper because that's what I had for this one. I know it was it was pretty ugly. It's still very, very sore, but he didn't break the leg. I'm sure it was right on the shin bone, so he had two really significantly skinned up places just on one leg, so at least he didn't get both legs. So there is that. There's always something to be thankful for, you know? Okay, so we're going to go back to the desk, and so here is my cover. This is the front, because it says so right there. And this is a paper napkin. This is what I'm going to use. Somebody, I don't know if somebody sent this to me or I bought it. I don't remember. Anyway, paper napkins often have 1 to 2 layers of backing. This one had one. Not that. Where did I do it? I had it here somewhere. I don't know what. Oh, here it is. So this had 1 layer of the backing on it. And so I pulled it off. And so now we're going to do the same thing. We're putting it on. That's right. We don't bounce like we used to. That is for sure. And we don't catch ourselves the way we used to. That's the other thing. So I'm going to do glue stick again. Now, paper napkin is even harder to control than tissue paper. And if I really wanted to, I would get out a brush and I would get out the perfect paper adhesive, which is much easier to use with napkin. But I don't want to, so there you go. So we're just going to fight the napkin and the glue stick. And for this particular napkin, as long as I kind of get it on here, it isn't going to make any difference. Just not going to make any difference. Because it's an overall pattern. It really doesn't have to be straight. Nobody cares. I just need to have enough that it will go all the way around the journal, and I think it's going to be fine. And then I do the same thing, just smooth it out. And the glue comes through this even more than it did with the tissue paper. So it will come right through and it affects the cover, starts making the cover buckle, and you just got to be okay with it, you know? You just got to be okay with it, not sweat the small stuff. This is just a journal, okay? That's all it is. It's a journal cover. But it satisfies me in that I can tell my journals apart, even if I try not to ever duplicate the same cover. But even if I pick up the same napkin or the same tissue paper or whatever, I will add something else to the cover that makes it different. It does take quite a bit of these craft colored or craft cardstock covers do take quite a bit of glue. They will just grab the glue stick right from your glue stick. And then, but I've learned to do, you can only do 1/2 of the cover at a time. I find it works better this way than it does to open the journal out flat and glue the thing all in one shot, because then when you fold it in half, you often will break the spine. Then you got to cover the spine with something, which I often do, cover it with washi tape or something, or tissue paper or whatever. You can do that. Okay, Annette, mute your computer because I'm going to do the thing again. Okay, just mute your computer. I'm going to sand again. All right. Here we go. I have warned you. I have warned you. I'll take a sip of tea so you be sure and hear it. Anybody that does not want to hear the sanding, mute your computer. This does work infinitely better if it is dry than damp like this is, but you know, it is what it is, folks. It's good enough. You can obviously cut this with a pair of scissors. You can do that. And this piece right here is not coming off easily because I had it blocked from below. And sometimes you'll get a really nice edge, and sometimes you don't get a really nice edge. So when you don't get the really nice edge, like here, see that? It sanded off kind of screwy. Then you just come back in, and that's part of what the ink does. The ink goes on there and fills in all the little gap things, all the little ugly bits. The inking is really good for that. And sometimes I actually ink the edges of the book block, and sometimes I don't. Does not matter. It's just kind of whatever I'm in the mood for, and I try different things. Doing these little book covers like this, it's a great way to just experiment with different techniques and go, yeah, I like that. Nope, I don't like that at all. It's a good way to do that, you know? The back cover doesn't sand off quite as well as the front because there is a pocket back here. So it's a double layer of cardstock back here. And it's good enough. It is good enough. Okay. Hello, Beth. Good to see you. All right. So what we're going to do is just smooth it out again. Like so. So I have a question for you guys. You know, last week we were talking about expectations. And so I have a new thing for us to talk about. And it's based on these cards called self-care and empowerment cards. I love card decks, in case any of you are not aware of that. I love card decks. I collect them. They are my personal favorite, one of my personal favorite things. And so these are just different cards that inspire you to think about things or talk about things. And we may do some of those because I did pull out the ones that were most appropriate. And so my question for you while I continue on with finishing this notebook cover is, sorry, I'm just looking at the chat. My question for you is, what is self-care? And what does that mean to you? What does self-care mean? Just when somebody says that phrase, because it's kind of a buzzword, you know, it's kind of some people think that self-care they have one definition for it. Some people think it's something else. So I'm just curious how you would define self-care. And while you are processing that, thinking about it, writing your answers in the chat, I'm going to ink around the edge of this journal. Okay? So what is self-care? How do you, and maybe you haven't ever thought about it, maybe you have. I find that a lot of people my age or about my age have gotten to a point where life has intervened enough in various manifestations where we have to go, oh, you know, people, all of a sudden you go, man, I got to take better care of myself. Either you get sick perpetually or you put off doing things to take care of yourself, or you're burning the candle at both ends, or 4 or 5 ends, or you're spending too much time giving everything that you've got to everybody else, and it manifests some way in yourself. So what do you think? What does it mean to you? And there's no, by the way, there is no right answer to this question. This is just for the purpose of chatting. Yeah? It's Drama Free Friday. So we chat, we talk, we whatever. You know? We have a good time. So all those ugly edges that I had going on, they're all gone now, because I inked them. And then you got to clean up the little sponge crumbs from my little sponge applicator. You got to clean those up. So I always have a lint roller on my desk to do that. That's all the sponge poop. Okay. So what I have now, so I'm leaving that to cover the picture so you guys don't get grossed out. Let me read the chat here. So let's see what you guys have to say. Self-care is working on, for me, is working on art or doing what I want to do without guilt. That was from Rhonda. Annette, giving myself rest in bed after I've done things that drain her. Yep. Kasha, being kind to myself. Kathy, doing things to take care of me. Purple Nana means taking a break from anything going on in the world and taking time out and away from stress. Amen, sister. Terry, taking time to acknowledge that you have personal needs and self-care is doing something about it. Elvis says eating healthy, which is hard to do. That is true. Becky says granting myself grace. That is true. All of these are very good and very true. Accepting each new day with gladness, embracing joy in the little things, and learning to say no. She says she didn't know how to put it in words, but she agrees with Kasia, being kind to herself. Yep. Okay. So I'm going to know the answer to the next question, but I'm going to ask it anyway because it's a good discussion. And that is self-care selfish? Is self-care selfish? And I know how you're going to answer it. And I have a follow-up question. Okay? Right. Let's go back to the desk while we do this. So in my scrap box of stuff, I was looking for something so I could put on the front cover here. I just flipped away part of what I was going to use. Where did that land? Oh, here it is. Okay. I had this little image, and this is an image by Kelly Ray Roberts, and I'm not remembering exactly where I got it. I'm going to ink it, however, around the edge to kind of set it off a little bit. And I just tore it out. This was scrap. Okay, this was a scrap. And so I'm just going to ink it. It may not go with this. I don't care. I just need something that's going to differentiate the front cover from the back cover. And then I'll come back and I'll read your responses here. So the question is self-care selfish? Is taking care of yourself selfish? Okay. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little thing and I'm going to stick her right here in the front, because that way I know where the front of this journal is. And I will not have to go searching for the front cover, because this girl is going to be on here. And I will probably add some words and some other stuff as well. I have a few things to add to it right now. But I'm going to put her on here because that immediately says to me this is the front cover. And I like the image. I like Kelly Ray Roberts' artwork. Okay, so there is that. And then I have some of the things that came with this image. So there's the word grow. This one says, and all of the possibilities. These were all from the same image. The most tender pockets of her heart. I find that is so true, that I have tender pockets in my heart. She was embracing change. This one is, it meant for her life. She was embracing change. We're going to put that together. Okay? And then we're going to just put the word grow on here somewhere and call it good. Could be there, it could be here. I'm going to put it over here so it shows up a little bit. Okay? Does not matter. It is just a matter of sticking some stuff on this cover. I don't spend a lot of time worrying about this. I used to. I don't anymore. Okay? So I'm going to ink it, glue it, and before I have a chance to change my mind, I'm going to stick it on the cover. Okay, so let me do that with these, and then we'll go back. I'll go back and look at your responses. So the question is self-care selfish? Is it selfish to take care of yourself? Remember, there's a follow-up question coming. And all of the possibilities, the most tender pockets of her heart. It's fine. It doesn't have to make sense. These were on a canvas that Kelly Ray did, and I don't know where I came up with the picture. It may have come out of one of her books. I don't remember. But anyway, I took the image, cut it up. I'm just going to put these at different angles just because I can. And I'm going to put this one down at the bottom. My hands are getting gluey now. I'm going to put this one down here first, and then I'll put the other one next. Chance, in case you wondered where he was, is in the other room. He decided to go in there early today and curl up in the window. So he is currently sun-drunk in the window in the room where he normally gets to go because he drives me crazy. But he put himself in there today, so I appreciated that. And then I quickly, once he was settled and I knew he was settled, I shut the door. Okay, so I'm going to pull this off. Then I'm going to have to get a baby wipe and clean up my hands. All right, there we go. Good enough. That is a cover, and it is good enough. And I will add to this what number journal this is for this year, because I don't remember. And I will also date it inside, because that's what I do. And at the end of the year, it normally takes me 8 journals, sometimes 9 if I'm real wordy that year. Hello, Alicia. Welcome, welcome. I know, sun drunk. One of my other favorite expressions that a viewer shared with me, I was talking about Chance, or talking about cats in general, and how they they sit with their front paws curled in, sit on their haunches and their front paws are curled in. Somebody called that roast chicken position. I thought that was great. Roast chicken position. Yep. All right. Look. Still a little gluey, but it'll go away. Okay, let's see. All right, I'm going to scroll back just a little bit. All right. Carolina says eating and cooking for one is difficult. That's true. I agree with that. Time with friends. Do something that brings you happiness and peace. And when I said, is self-care selfish, the answers are no, not at all. Okay. For many, Terry said, for many it feels selfish, but it's not. Anne says no. Only if you ignore the needs of others. That's true. Okay. Ruth said she used to think it was selfish, but she doesn't now. Good for you. That's progress, Ruth. Yeah, having little kids or elderly people in your life, that changes things, doesn't it? Sorry about the nose wiping. Yeah. The allergy stuff. I have not had allergies in years. This year has kicked my butt. So the basic response here to the question is no. Okay? That it is not selfish. Okay. You ready for my follow-up question? Are you ready? Follow-up question is, then why don't we do it? Why don't you put yourself on your own priority list? Because I know a lot of you guys are just like me, and you have a hard time putting yourself on your list and you start listing off all kinds of reasons for why you can't. I understand. I get it. But why don't we do it? Hello, Pam. What do you do for fun? Exactly. You have to do things for fun. You do. You have to do, and even if it's not fun, you just have to do things to take care of yourself. But it is so easy, especially, it just depends on your personality. And, I think women are a little more prone to this than men, but certainly not exclusive to men. To women. Certainly not exclusive. Yeah. So, this is a neat little book. I think this was sent to me by Nanette, I believe. Nanette Church, I believe. Hi, Trudy. And I was just leafing through it. It's called Radiant Rainbows by Jessica Swift. And this goes along with what Becky said. I thought this was really interesting. This is the artwork right here. Right here. The whole book is full of rainbows that she's painted. And there's a whole thing behind that. But she says, may you let go of expectations. We were talking about that last week. May you let go of expectations of how things should be in order to see clearly and embrace things as they are. May you forgive. May you carry on without the weight of all that is holding you down. May you let go to lift up. May you let go to lift up. Let go to lift up. So part of taking care of yourself is letting go of unrealistic expectations or letting go of the things you can't control. Because good night nurse Mary McCauley knows this, and several of the rest of you know this. When you lose a spouse, you can't control that. There's nothing you can do to control that, and you have to let go of so much of that. Peggy knows that. You have to let go of that. and easy to say, hard to do. I am not saying it's easy. But those of you, maybe a bunch of you know Jessica Swift's story. I'll read you just a little bit of it. She says, life isn't easy. We all encounter pain. Some people experience more pain and hardship. Others experience less. Some people face the worst things you could imagine, while others' painful experiences are less dramatic. But none of us is immune to the reality that pain is part of life, and life is hard for everyone in one way or another. And it, ebbs and flows, obviously. On August 14th, 2018, my husband Ryan died. It was 3 days before my 38th birthday. Our first child was a month shy of 3, and I was pregnant with our second child. Ryan was 40, a talented and compassionate doctor, a dad and a husband, a son and a brother, a skier and a woodworker. And he was deep in an addiction that didn't come to light until it was too late. So, yeah, that is an interesting book. And you talk about somebody that had to learn real fast how to balance a lot of stuff. I can't even imagine doing that at 38. Yeah. So, anyway. Okay, so let's look back at this one more quick. I wish my thing would work. No complaining. So this is the little notebook that I just did cover with the paper napkin. Okay? Paper napkin, and this is just a color copy that I used here. So there is that. Paper napkin, one single layer of paper napkin. This is the other one from the trip that I took early this year. And so by having this right side up, the words, the letters, I know which is the front. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put this in here, fold that over, put this one on top, and then I'm going to stick them under some heavy books. And so I'm going to do that so they'll dry flat. So if you'll indulge me just a moment, I'm going to do that. Then all I have to remember after that is where I put them. Yes. Okay. Yeah, you got to get over that, Elvis. You got to get over that, don't you? You do. All right. Let's do a little bit of painty paper stuff again. This time I thought what we would do is to do some translucent papers. We won't do very many, but we'll do a few. And if I can remember, I'll use a different color of paint this time than black to do the stenciling. We'll see if I can remember that, huh? Sometimes I say something, I'm going to do X, and then I just promptly it just promptly goes out of my head. And I don't think about it. Big hugs to you about that, Annette. That's tough. That's tough. All right, so I'll show you the papers I have. Good for you, Annette. It's good to break cycles and traditions sometimes. Okay, so I'm going to, this is tissue paper, and I'm just going to cut a piece, a couple pieces. Let's see. I'm just going to cut a couple of pieces of tissue paper here, just so I'm not wrestling the whole thing. I like this color, whatever color you want to call this, lime, kiwi, what have you. So we got a couple pieces of that, so it's a translucent tissue. And I have another tissue here, tissue paper, which is this one. I like the fact that sometimes you just can help yourself out by starting with a colored background. You don't have to come up from white, and I like that. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to cut it. Just cut it down a little bit. Because if you try to work on one big sheet of tissue paper, you're going to drive yourself crazy. Okay, so the consensus is that self-care is not selfish. And if you think it is, you need to take a long, hard look at your response, because self-care is not selfish. It is necessary. Sometimes it's easier to do than other times, for certain. Cut this before the camera goes crazy. If you don't take care of yourself, what happens? Next question. What happens if you don't take care of yourself? Since we agree that self-care, pretty much everybody agreed self-care is not selfish, and we should do it. It's not always easy, I get that. But what happens if you don't do it? What happens if you don't? All right, so we have tissue paper, and this is some deli paper. Okay, deli wrap. I have a couple of kinds of deli wrap here. So this is just plain. It comes in different sizes also, and often this is called dry wax paper. It will have a shiny side, and it will have a duller side. And then I also have some that is striped. This is also deli wrap, but it has a distinct stripey pattern. Hello, Linda. You get sick? Yes. You get sick? What else happens? Yep. You often get sick, or you get, another thing is you get careless. You're not paying attention to your surroundings. You're not paying attention to your body. You miss a step. You miss a, I have quite a few stairs in my house. And if I'm not paying attention, if I'm distracted and, tripping off down some sort of thought path, it's real easy not to pay attention and to miss the last step. One of my friends the other day, I was talking to her on the phone, and she said, yeah, she was going down the basement because her laundry facility's in the basement. She was going down to get laundry out of the washer and dryer, or switch it over or something. I don't know. Anyway, whatever it was, she was doing one or the other. She went down the basement and missed the bottom step, fell head first, and there was a window there, like a spare storm window or something down there, and she cracked her head into it. knocked herself out, broke the window, didn't cut herself, but knocked herself out. And I said, where was your cell phone? She goes, well, it was upstairs. I'm like, yeah, exactly. Mental breakdown can happen, or psychological issues. Yep. Emotional issues. Yep. All those things. It's just food for thought. It's just food for thought. It's food for discussion. If I can get you to think a little bit about the subject, I feel like I've done a good job giving you something to think about. Okay, let's work on some of these translucent papers. And so I have the deli wrap, different kinds of deli wrap. This is tracing paper. Tracing paper will wrinkle up and carry on, but it's still fun to work with. And so let's do some stuff with these. So I have a few papers. This is way too many for what we're going to get done. So you guys are having a really good discussion, and so that's good. I'm going to let you discuss while I do some more painty papers. All right, so let's do this one just for grins and giggles, which is the tracing paper. Okay? And I'm going to pull out some metallic paints today, just because I just thought about it. That's why. Some of these I'll just use 3. Okay? All right, let's do a little bit of the glue all, the Elmer's glue all thing, and see how this reacts on the tracing paper, because I really don't know how it's going to react. So let's do it. All right, so this is not the one I wanted to use. I'm going to use the smaller one because the glue was not quite as thick. All right, so let's do this. What shall we do? Just draw some designs in glue. Not worrying about what the effect is gonna be when we're done. Let's do some, go in a different direction. Not having to do the dots, just do something different, okay? And then I'm going to only use one color. Maybe we'll do 2 colors. We'll do 2 colors. So this is, what is this? Peacock Pearl. And this one is Emperor's Gold. Both are Deco Art paints. All right, so that's what we've got here. And then I need to have at the ready, as we say, some other papers, some scrap papers. Or I could use another piece of deli wrap to use as the scraping receiver. Okay? Okay, so let's go for it and see how we do here. That's some extra texture. All right, let's. All right. I'm just going the other direction here for a second. Okay, good enough. And you see what it does is it starts getting compromised immediately. And so you got to put this someplace where it can dry, because if you don't, you're not going to be happy. Okay, so I'm just going to stick this over here out of the way. Hopefully that will dry before we get done. And this is just another piece of deli paper, or a piece of deli paper. And I'm just cleaning it off, cleaning off the scraper. And that worked better than I expected it to, honestly, on the tracing paper. So that's nice. That's nice. Okay, we have one more piece of tracing paper here. And this is the lightweight tracing paper. And I'm just going to wipe off the bulk of that paint. And again, I'm working on the nonstick mat. And let's see, let's do some more. We'll do another glue resist, because we can. Okay. And this time, let's use, this is Rich Espresso. So let's use that. These are metallics by Deco Art. Dazzling metallics. I'm going to turn this around because I got a little bit more room over on the other side. And we're going to just put some paint over here and see what happens. You're going to feel in some ways like you're wasting paint, but you have to have enough, otherwise it won't, you don't have enough to get all the way across the sheet, and you really need to be able to do it in one go. Hold the paper, get a running start, and go. Here we go. That turned out pretty well. I can like that. I can like that one. I'm going to leave this alone up here and just let that do its thing, whatever it's going to do. And I'm going to move this. Actually, I should probably scrape the rest of this paint going the other way. Left-handed. Not my strong suit. All right. The worst part about doing these with these papers is that you do have to put them someplace because they're so lightweight. They want to kind of fold in on themselves. What paper did I hear? This one. So next question, and we kind of talked about this a little bit, but what specific things, so examples, this is a good time for examples. What specific things can you do for self-care? Or better yet, if you saw one of your friends who you noticed was not taking care of themselves, what things would you suggest to your friend? I know, heavy subject here. Oh good, Annette, enjoy. It's a lot of fun. Super simple, a lot of fun. Just go for it. Some of the things that I do, take a bath and soak in the bathtub. That is one. All right, let's see. On this one, I'm not going to do the glue resist. I think what I'm going to do is make some marks with the paintbrush. So this is Key West acrylic paint. Key West. So I'm just going to put some out here on my mat. And I have a brush, not a great, super fantastic brush. And I'm just going to make some marks that are in contrast to the background. So the background has that kind of stripy look. So I'm doing circles because that is contrast, in contrast to the background pattern. All right. Spirals, not circles. So taking a long soaking bath helps. When I was taking care of Claus Man, that was a luxury, that soaking bath. And so the way I got around that, it took me a while to figure out how to deal with things so that I didn't lose my mind, because dealing with someone with dementia is definitely challenging. So the way that I got around that was I got up earlier and I took my bath before I got him up and got him going. And is that easy to do? No. But it was necessary, you know? It was something I had to do. Not only just, because I needed it for my own hygiene, but also I needed that time to get myself together before I started the day. So a bath, and it wasn't as long as I usually wanted, but it was better than nothing. And another thing I would do, and it was hard to get up so early. I have to tell you, there were a lot of times, because I wasn't sleeping very well, and there were a lot of times it was hard to drag out of that bed just to physically get moving. But another thing that I did during that was because I would get up so early and he was sleeping later, I would have to physically get him up and moving. And so another thing that I would do is I would have my journaling stuff together, and I had cameras in the house, and so I could monitor him from wherever I was, as long as there was, with my iPad, I needed internet because it was one of those that didn't have it only had Wi-Fi ability. But my phone, on the other hand, would allow me to keep tabs on him no matter what. So I could go not very far away from home, but I would go far enough that I would sit and have a cup of coffee and write in my journal and just kind of get myself together, but I would have the monitor set up right in front of me, so I knew exactly what he was doing. And there were some days that I would go and I would sit down. I would go and I would get the coffee, and I would sit down and I would get all my journaling stuff all set up, get the iPad set up, everything was ready. And he would start moving and, acting like he was going to get out of bed, which he couldn't. And I'm like, okay, I'm done. I got to go back home today, there isn't time to do that. And so, it was, it's just an interesting time. But even that little bit of time about getting away from home really helped. It really helped a lot. So that was one of the things that I did. Just scooting some papers around. I like that one that I just did. Okay, let's do another one. Let's use this green tissue paper. Lime green, whatever color this is. Okay, and so, crazy computer. You get used to technology functioning in a certain way, and then it decides not to, and it just becomes a source of frustration. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to use my, yes, same color, same brush. Just make marks. When I used to do rose mauling years ago with oil paints, we had this funny little brush, and I don't even remember what it was called, but it was a round brush, but it was had a funny shape to it. I don't remember what it was called. Anyway, you did a lot of the trim with rose mauling, and this brush won't do it, but I'm going to show you the concept of it. But you would load it in paint, and let me get a second color here, because and the paint had to be exactly the right consistency, which of course this isn't, so that's why I said it won't work, but it'll give you the idea. And so you'd load the brush, and then you tip it in the second color, and then you do this, you draw, and then you'd in one stroke, and then you'd set down the brush. And so you would get a two-tone. That wasn't a good choice of the green, but you get this two-tone. Let's try it the other way with green, and then tip it in this one. So you draw and then splat, and so it would make these two-tone, almost teardrop shapes, but they were just kind of, it was just a fun way to do trim. And so you couldn't control what the outcome was, but you would get these great two-tone effects. And they were tiny because the brush was tiny. But you got what you got. You didn't go back and touch them up, because if you did, they always look terrible. If you messed it up, your only solution was to go back and take it off with paint thinner, clean up the area, let it dry, and do it again. Anyway, that's that. So there you go. Okay, let's keep going with some more of this, and maybe we'll put some pink out here, because I think electric pink would look good on this tissue paper. The tone on tone of the green is actually not too bad, but anyway, let's just make some more marks. And the whole thing that we're doing, or that I'm doing here, because book club I think will be this coming week, the whole thing that I'm doing is just making papers and shapes that I can cut up and use for other things. If you think, and if any of your papers that you've created are ugly, you know what? Cut them up. They'll be great. So another thing that I would do for self-care, and I still do, and if I don't do it in about 2 days, somebody is going to tell me to go do it, and that is journaling. It is writing. It is, it takes a while before you find the kind of journaling practice that you want to do. Some people do exclusively art journaling. Some people do writing journaling. Some people do scrapbooking kinds of journaling. I kind of settled on a hybrid of all of that. So journaling is another thing you can do. What else can you do? Sketching. You can, if you can't stand to talk to people when you're under a lot of stress or whatever, you can go and do urban sketching, or you can just observe people. That's another thing you can do. Just simply observe people. People watch. It's always a good entertainment value. What else can you do? Go to the gym. When years ago, when I was a very inexperienced caregiver, I was going to the gym fairly often because I needed to get stronger, as the person I was taking care of was getting weaker. And so I was doing Pilates, and I was doing weightlifting, and I was being trained by two different people, because the whole point was I had to keep up with the physical changes that were going on, and if I didn't, I was going to get hurt. And so that is a challenge. Takes time, and in that case I could get a little bit further away from home than when I was taking care of Claus Man. I couldn't get very far away from home, or I'd have to have somebody come in and stay with him, and then he could get really anxious and upset, because I wasn't there, and he'd start asking where I was, that kind of thing. So what else, what are some other things you can do? I could take a walk. Sometimes I just walked up and down in front of my house, up and down the street in front of my house. So I could do that. We get fixated sometimes on that which we can't do. And it's easy to do that. Been there, done that. Where you get fixated on, I just want to be able to do X, and you can't because the situation doesn't allow. So then what do you do? How do you deal with that? Okay, so I'm just going to make a series of set the brush down and just let it, whatever falls off the brush, let it fall off the brush. Some people will, when they're stressed out, will read a book, and that's very helpful. Reading or taking notes or listening to spiritual encouragement is very helpful for lots of people. Whether it is sermons from a church or an online speaker or just different kinds of spiritual encouragement. If you are a person who enjoys the Bible but you can't sit down to read it, you can listen to it on your phone or your iPad or your computer, or you can listen to other speakers. Or sometimes just listening to TEDx talks or whatever they're called. Sometimes listening to those is helpful. or listening to YouTube. Even if you can't watch the YouTube, sometimes you can listen to it in the background. And by listening, it just keeps your mind busy. It gives you something else to think about, you know, which is good. Okay, so this now has marks in different colors. Hopefully you can see it. The turquoise is showing up really well. The pink is showing up pretty well. The green is very subtle, but that's okay. You know, it's good to have a contrast and in options. It gives you options. All right, let's go to, how about a white piece of white tissue paper? Let's do maybe marks with a credit card. Some great chat going on. Okay, so I'm gonna just pick up some paint on the scraper. I've got a ceiling fan going, and so my paint is starting to get sticky on me. Now you can cut your credit cards into smaller pieces. I don't know if I have some here or not. I usually do. Let me see what I got here. If not, I'll cut one up. Here, this is a smaller card. And then just make marks. The best part about this is it just doesn't matter. You know, it just doesn't matter. Mindless. But there were even times where I couldn't even do this. I couldn't even do the mindless mark making. So when you have the opportunity and you have the ability, making the marks and just making things, just making resources, hey, good to do. All right, let's put some black out here too, because it would be good to have some black marks on some of these translucent papers also. Conversations with friends. Sometimes that was a luxury for me, you know. And there's sometimes you can't even, it's like, I can't even talk to anybody. And there were times where I didn't, you know, I just didn't. I knew people were thinking of me, but I couldn't even think about holding a conversation. So the whole point of this, but conversation is a good kind of self-care, you know. Find somebody you can talk to, somebody you trust. I did have one really good friend who we got together every single week. Every week we got together. We've done it for years. And we've often said, you know, without each other, we would not have held it together through some stuff, because her husband was dealing with Parkinson's, and he died 6 months before Clausman did. So life can get really, really sticky, but even when you're not dealing with life and death situations, we still need to take care of ourselves, right? And sometimes that is not, you know, sometimes just a good old-fashioned nap is what you need, don't you think? And boy, if you get to take a nap, don't feel guilty about it either, you know? Just don't feel a bit guilty, because if you do, that's just part of you taking care of yourself. If you need to, tell yourself, remind yourself that I'm just taking care of me. I got to do this. If I don't do this, if I don't take care of myself, I'm no good to anybody else, right? Okay, so we got that. Leah likes to write Bible verses and sing, or Bible journaling, or even a book that's been significant in your life, whatever that might be. Illustrate it, draw in it. Yep, you can do all kinds of great things. All right, let's see what else we can do. Let's do one of these other papers, one of these colorful papers, and then I'm going to call it a day. So we're going to do one more paper, one more tissue paper, and I think we're going to use, we'll do this side. This side is a little shiny, but that's okay. I have another brush here. Sometimes if you just make marks, I did not pre-plan the thing that I was going to do here today, other than about 10 minutes before we got started. I thought, I'm going to cover those journals today, because my brain was not thinking and processing well. And so when that happens, then make a new plan. Or just don't plan. Right? Just don't plan. And now what I'm going to do is just kind of see if I can use up some paint. Sometimes one of the things I used to do is I have a little tray, like a lap tray, that is for jewelry making. And so I would load it up with jewelry supplies for stringing beads or doing wire work. But I would have it loaded up because I could sit down. It was small, and even for 5 minutes, if I just did something that was creative, it would stay done. You know, when you're caretaking, or, you know, whether it's taking care of kids or parents or other family members, if you can just have something that's portable, and even if it's just a few minutes, and you do something that stays done, especially if you remember, or if anybody's watching who does have small children, I mean, it's just like you just do the same thing over and over and over. And having a husband or another family member with dementia is very much like having little kids. You know, and so you do the same thing over and over and over and over, and you're just like, man, I got to do something that stays done. I gotta have a break here, you know. And so I would have something where I could take it off my lap, set it over when I was needed. You know, I could set it off to the side, but everything was self-contained on a tray that was like a lap desk, but it was a tray with a pillow kind of thing underneath it. That really helped a lot. So that's another thing. Find small things that you can do to be creative. All right, let's use this one up. What can you do to be creative that gives you some sort of sense of satisfaction? What can you do? Ooh, this paint is sticky. Whew. When it starts getting this sticky, you're just asking for problems. You're just asking for it. That's okay. We're going to live on the edge. We're living on the edge here. If you have animals in your life, animals can be a wonderful source of comfort and self-care also. Whether it's a dog, a cat, you know, those are my animals of choice. There used to be a gal that streamed years ago, and she had mice. And I'm telling you, I could barely watch that. But she just, or no, it was rats. She had rats, white rats. That's what it was, white rats. And I'm like, oh no, yeah, that was, yeah, whew. You have to know how much I don't like things like that to understand how hard that was for me to watch. And she loved those rats. Honestly, she just loved them. And so the only thing I could do was appreciate her love of those rats. And yeah, oh, not my thing. Not my thing. I could watch her through the computer. But man, oh man, if anybody had brought me a rat and said, here, this is your companion, I would have said, thank you, but no thank you. All right, I'm just about to use up this paint, so this is good. Yeah. Woo. She loved those rats. I'm like, oh man. Respect, girlfriend. That is not me. Okay, and so we now have several papers that are done. I'm going to have to soak these brushes, I can tell you that. Let's see if we can get rid of the rest of this a little bit so I don't stick my hand in the wet. Good enough. Okay. All right. We'll put this out of the way. So let's look at the tracing papers first of all. So there's one. Now the great thing about the tracing paper is when they dry out, and you can see it maybe a little bit better on the back. When they get really dry, they get real crunchy. And so, but you have to kind of know that about them because they're not your average paper by any means. So there's those. I don't know how they will iron out, but we'll find out, won't we? Okay, here's this one. This was the scraping off paper, just the one and that is a great piece of paper, by the way, where I just scraped off the extra paint. Here's this one. And this one. Did I only have one piece of the green? Is that all I did? Oh, and then this one. We had this one, which was that kind of textured, stripy looking deli wrap. Yeah. So there we go. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces. Not bad. Not bad for a few minutes of work. Not bad. All right. Any questions from anybody? You love the crinkly scent. I know. I do too. I like the crinkles. I do like the crinkles. All right. I'm going to put these brushes in my hand so I don't forget to go put them in water. All right, you guys, it's good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. As far as I know, I will be back on Monday. I'll see how my body is doing. When I came on today, I honestly had the intention of telling you that I wouldn't be back on Monday. But sitting here and doing this has made me feel quite a bit better. And talking and chatting with you guys has helped also. So unless something changes, I will be back Monday night at 7 Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, and whatever other times it is in the world. Yes, until then, I hope that the allergens on the planet just, like give it up and get settled down and give us all a break. So anyway, it's good to see you guys. Thanks for being here. And I will see you before you know it. Be sure that you are sensitive to people around you. When you sense that somebody is in trouble, see what you can do to help them. Sometimes it's send them a card. Sometimes it is to call them on the phone. Sometimes it is just to, take them out for lunch, or just spend time with them. Whatever it is, just be sensitive to other people. You'll be glad you did. You can never go wrong being kind to somebody else. Never, ever, ever. Never a mistake to be kind to somebody else. All right, I will see you Monday. Thanks for being here, everybody. Remember to get creative today because it's easy. I'll see you before you know it. Bye for now.